Hello, friends. Mia Verde here, and welcome to my burnout journey. This is a channel where we discuss professional burnout and how to heal and overcome it, and how to thrive after it. We are talking about burnout. We are talking about women in corporate, specifically women of color. And I say that because all are welcome, but I am a woman of color. So I'm speaking about my experiences, and we all know that women of color have a very different experience in corporate America, and especially in high-powered roles or highly visible roles than women that are not of color. So again, all are welcome, but I am speaking from my experience and the people that I know as women of color. So welcome. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Today's burnout thought, I guess, or topic that we are going to discuss, or that I am going to share with you, is your pain is not in vain. Your pain is not in vain. That is the topic of today. I know a lot of you may wonder, why am I suffering? Why am I all of a sudden feeling this pain? And one of the things that I was reading about was the change in our workforce, the change in the way, just society and the way we live altogether, right? But specifically the workforce. We are in a time where we are hyper connected, and our hyper connectivity, which would be, our cell phones, our instant messaging, our social media, hyper connectivity allows us to be connected at all times, right? And again, if I'm talking to women who are 35 and over, then you were in the workforce where the hyperconnectivity was not there. There was connectivity, but it was not as strong. It was not as demanding, as far as you had responsibilities, but being able to reach you and being connected and on all day was not as prevalent as it is now. Or I would say all day and all night, right? Especially depending on what industry you're in, what the hours may be, and what people may ask of you, what your organization requires from a workforce or operational. That's what I'm looking for, from an operational standpoint. So the hyperconnectivity, it has altered the way we live and work. And in doing that, we are expected to be, people are connecting their emails to their phones. So when you take a lunch, or you take a break, or you take a vacation, it's still there, pinging in the background, right? You can't turn off. And I think with that demand going up, it has changed the formula for what it takes to be successful. In theory, and you'll see, sometimes it's performative to hear people around you or your coworkers say, make sure you unplug, make sure you turn off. But is the expectation still there? Is that feeling of, well, nobody else really did that, so if I'm the one that really disconnects, am I the person that's not really committed? Am I the person that's not really doing my job? I talked about boundaries in one of my other vlogs, and this is one of those hard boundaries that you will have to set in order to nurture yourself. And that is one of the key contributors to burnout. You begin to neglect your self-nurturing because you're nurturing the career, the demands, and everything that is being asked of you. So setting that boundary and disconnecting, whether it be, I know for me personally, now in this area, I've never had a problem. But the start of that is, again, being firm with your boundaries. I've never had a problem with, I've always had two phones. Some may think it's a waste, it's always worked for me. I have other businesses, multiple projects that I'm involved in. And so I've always wanted to be able to disconnect when I wanted to. And I always wanted to keep another phone for my friends and family. So, some family. No, I'm joking. So anyway, So yeah, that has always been a big help. If you're not interested in having two phones, there's always apps that you can use, right? You can always use, do people still use Google Voice? There's Ring Central. A lot of companies use Ring. There's tons of apps that you can use, phone apps, to give you another number. I always say my private number is my private number. So I don't give that number out at work unless, I personally feel connected to you in some way and you're actually my friend outside of work. So that's one of the ways where, we can stop the hyperconnectivity. I do not. And I am pretty sure this is going to be controversial in the corporate world. I do not connect my email to my cell phone. I know many people do. When I worked in automotive for years. When I worked in automotive, I did, because they actually provided us a separate phone. In that instance, I did, because again, it was being turned off. Because I started consulting and I owned a boutique, and I did a host of other things, I have my own business phone. And again, because it's my business, I have my business emails attached to that. But now as an employee, me working, I will not attach that email to that phone. I just won't do it. So that is one of the ways that you can help. But I say all this to say, I think in this time, if you really think about some of the feelings that you have, again, it's the social expectation. And I talk about social norms. Social norms sometimes put unspoken pressure on us. And what I mean by that is, if I really disconnect, what do my peers think of me? Back in automotive days, if you left at 4 o'clock, now who cares if you were there from 6 or 5 a.m. or 6 o'clock or 7 a.m. If you left at 4 o'clock and you did that little walk of shame, which it's so sad that they called it that, the walk of shame from your office, it's like a bullpen kind of setup, and you have the ELT and the more higher up execs will have offices along the wall. If you walked from that office through the bullpen to the door, everyone sees you walking. They see you in. And I've always been in human resources, so I've always had to close my door and lock it. Close my office and lock it before I left. Oh, banker's hours? You keeping banker's hours now? Ha 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 ha! Like the people that actually left when it was time to leave, they were a disgrace. Boundaries do work, and when we get further down the line, we're going to talk about, I think, probably the last component that contributes to burnout is mental clarity. And the higher up you go, the more that is expected of you. And sometimes at that point, it's your own mental direction and your own focus and your own working through purpose and creating that plan, and maybe facing disappointment. In my case, I said, I'm going to take a break. That opportunity came to me. I said, I'm going to take a break. And that's how I got derailed. Never take a break from your purpose. Never. Because I'm thinking, I told you, this is absolutely a healing channel. And I'm walking through my experiences with you. So again, this is new for me too, but I feel called to do this. Where the disconnect came and where my burnout started, because I've always had those boundaries. So I say the suggestions I give you to set those boundaries, they work. They've worked for me for years. But where I fell short is when I took a break from purpose. When I took a break from purpose and I fell in with the bunch. I fell in with the bunch and the burnout started. I mentally and activity wise took a break. I was doing the boutique, I was consulting, and when I got this opportunity, I said, I was doing a career transition coaching, and I was so happy and so fulfilled. And then this opportunity came. This was a consulting opportunity. And when it came, I took a break. I said, I'm just taking a break. Because I will. Don't get it twisted. working in purpose, being an entrepreneur, working for yourself, it's great, but it's work. It's fulfilling work, but it's work. You are going to work harder for yourself than you ever worked for someone else because your name is on that, right? That is your baby. So I took a break. It was after COVID. And things had just got a lot difficult, honestly, just to be honest. Business had got difficult and I was tired. I was tired of being on and drumming up business and getting things going. And I said, I'll just take a break. This is easy money. And it absolutely, was a great opportunity. And when I took that break, I stopped being creative. I stopped seeking God's word for my businesses. I stopped planning for my businesses. And that's when it all went left. Just to be honest, that's when it all went left. From my emotional and, again, self-nurturing and spiritual standpoint, I was not working in kingdom. I was no longer working in kingdom business. And I say that to say, you can still, all these years, I've been in and out of corporate. If I wasn't consulting and working for myself, when I was in corporate, I still kept my eye on kingdom business. And I still had what I was doing on the side. And I still had plans. And my reasoning for going to corporate at that time always made sense. And it always fed into the furthering of my kingdom business. And so at this point, that wasn't the case. I was simply tired. And this golden opportunity was presented to me at that time after the pandemic. And so I did that, and yeah, for a few years, I was very successful. I got promotions. I went up the ladder pretty quickly, but again, the burnout started, and the expectations and the demand started to grow, and I found myself on this treadmill that I could not get off. And so, yeah, so to bring it back to my original statement, your pain is not in vain, right? The feelings that you have, and I refer to my notes because I want to stay on track. The feelings that you have of the emptiness that we talked about the other day, you begin to eliminate things that you feel are non-essential because, again, you're working towards this goal of success. So hey, it's not important for me at this point to do everything my friends do or to go to every event, and every event turns into no events, right? Every phone call you miss, or some phone calls you miss, that 2 hours that you spend catching up on a Sunday with your mom, right? Or whoever, turn into 5 minutes because I got to get this project emailed. I got to do this. And so your personal vitality and self-nurturing, the engagement that you once put into that you once participated in, you no longer do. And again, you're not feeding yourself. You're not feeding your spirit. You're not feeding your brain. You're not feeding your soul. And it just slowly starts to die. So again, this is where the pain comes from, right? Again, the demand is growing. You're not growing, and you're thinking there's these feelings of failure if you don't rise to this occasion because you've always did it before. So the pain from, I don't want to do this, I don't want to feel this way, your performance starts to suffer. You're trying your hardest, you're working harder than you ever have before, and now your performance starts to suffer because you can't keep the engagement up. You can't keep the mental focus and the engagement at its peak level because, again, you're not nurturing yourself. So back to my original point. Your pain is not in vain. There is a reason that you are on this channel at this time. There is a reason that you were scrolling through and YouTube just so happened to suggest this video to you. There is a reason that you have come to this fork in the road that we talked about the other day, that And if you haven't seen that video, go back and check my videos out. I will be posting them as much as possible. Again, I'm trying to learn like what's the best cadence for me and for, you know, whoever wants to join my community. But there is a reason that you have been brought to this moment right now. It is going to require a new you, right? Everything that you're going through is preparing you for something new in your life. We talked about transcendence and revisiting our dreams, revisiting the vision that God originally gave you, whenever that was. You know that point that I'm talking about. It's time to revisit that. And now you have a community to help you do it. It's time to refresh, and it's time to lean in to create a new you, to emerge a new you. And so I think God sends you other people who are experiencing the same things that you are, where there's no shame. Up until this point, you've had nobody to talk about to this. And as women of color, let's be honest, even though we're thriving in the workforce, there's still less of us than there are others. So you may be the only person in your circle at this level. Maybe you surround yourself with plenty of, you know, executive women or professional women. But a lot of us, we may be, and maybe that's, again, another thing that's pushing us and driving us to work ourselves so hard. We may be the first in our family that is, I know a lot of women that way, that are the first in their family to reach this level. And there are a lot of people depending on you, or just from a being proud of you. You don't want to disappoint them. You don't want to say it's too much at this point, right? I've done that, and now it's a new season in my life. But guess what? God is bringing you to this place where there are people who understand and who have been or are going through the same thing. And that is something to celebrate. That is something to be relieved. Like, oh, I thought I was by myself. You are not by yourself, sis. You are not by yourself. I've been there. I have recovered from it. I am forever learning from it. And I want to be able to provide the same thing through my story. So that is, your pain is not in vain. I think your pain is going to be a catalyst to push you into the next level, the next story, the next chapter of your life. And that burnout does not have to continue. You are going to reach your highest level and your greatest potential. And that burnout and what got you to that point will be used. God is going to use all of it, and He is going to give you the greatest impact in other people's lives because you suffered through it. Because you suffered through it and you came out on the other side. Pure gold. Pure gold. So I think that's all I have for today. I'm hoping that these videos will get a little more succinct. I have so much to pour out. So I'm like taking notes and all that. But again, I think the structure will solidify as we go forward. And I see, you know, what my viewers want. Comment. Please comment below. I want to know what your thoughts are. And we can go from there. But thank you so much for tuning in. Please like the video. I am a new vlogger and I want to get this out to as many women to join our community as possible. So please like and comment and share. So have a great day, sis. Bye.